Hi, everybody. Just want to thank everybody for coming in here today. We've got a great webinar, Katana plus easy insights, turning manufacturing and inventory data into actionable insights and actionable actions. My name is Mark from the Katana team here. We'll start this webinar in a couple minutes. But again, thank you so much for coming in today. James, how are you doing?
Pretty good yourself.
Yeah, doing great, doing great. Where are you coming in from again?
I'm out of Denver.
Denver. Yes, I'm based out of Toronto, Canada myself. For everyone who's joining us right now, you'll see there's a little chat there. There's a little Q&A. Feel free to list out where you're coming in from, some things you'd like to learn here today. We're really excited about this, and we'll get started in about a minute or two. We'll just wait for everyone to kind of get in here and do their thing. Who we got going? Oh, hey, David. Nice to see you
Hey,
again.
David, how's it going?
Oh, how's the weather in Colorado?
Oh, we had almost 90 to brief snow to back to nice now, and then more snow on Friday. So
That's pretty typical stuff, eh?
up and down.
That's fair. Okay, it looks like we got a good audience here today, almost 30 participants. This is great. Yeah, you guys ready? Get started. So here is a brief agenda. Myself and James will go through some introductions in terms of who we are, what we do. We'll give you a little bit of details around each of our organizations. And then most of the webinar is going to be spent on James' side. So kind of understanding how different companies are leveraging different reporting forecasting modules within Easy Insights and how everything kind of interconnects into Katana. Then in terms of the Easy Insight side, learning a little bit more how to get started, and then having time at the end for questions. As mentioned before, we both have a chat. We also have Q&A throughout. Feel free to ask questions away. We have a team behind the scenes that'll answer them, and then at the end, we'll spend some time answering all of them that we don't get to. And we want it to be as interactive as possible in that respect. And then even afterwards as well, we'll give you our contact details. So if you want any follow-up, if you want to see a little bit more about the product, we'll have everything set up nicely for you on that side of it. So in terms of, that's the agenda. It should take about 30 to 40 minutes or so all in. In terms of myself, so my name is Mark. I lead partnerships here at Katana. I've been here for the past over 4 years right now. I've been in the inventory space for the last 8 years, and anything around our tech partners, so anyone who integrates into us and or what we call our service partners or channel partners, I'm responsible for both domains on the Katana side. James, on to you.
Hi, I'm the founder and owner of Easy Insight. Started Easy Insight almost 20 years ago somehow. And we've been providing cloud reporting, business intelligence for that whole duration. In particular, in about the last 5 years, we've really kind of honed in on inventory management reporting, really providing value on top of combining inventory, sales, purchasing, manufacturing with all the data from the e-commerce side, the shipping, the financials, and so on to get a full view of the business, make sure you're able to drive and get the results you need out of that reporting.
Cool. Well, thanks again for coming in here, James. 20 years in, you look the same. We've been working together for the last couple of years. So, and off we go. So I'll just do a brief overview around a little bit about Katana. So when you think about Katana, we act as a single source of truth for inventory, order, and production management. We've been around for the last 8 years or so now. And we really look at ourselves as the market leaders in terms of working with growing, scaling SMB brands. And one of our key differentiators in market is we want to really concentrate on the inventory side of the equation on our end of things, and then work with best in breed providers like Easy Insights and James on all the other tools and kits that you need as a business owner to be successful. And we do things in terms of when we talk about scalability, it's around just making sure that things like having our pricing around unlimited SKUs, making it really easy to use. We've looked at data over the last a bunch of months, and most of our customers get onboarded within 6 weeks, which is like kind of like the industry leaders in that respect. Yeah, we work with businesses globally, 1,500 businesses worldwide. And if you look across the board in terms of like where there's impact, I think that's the biggest thing. If you're not, in the using an inventory platform right now, if you're not with Katana, or you're kind of, messing with spreadsheets or with another solution out there, the big piece for us is like we want to be actionable. And I think that's a big piece that James goes into as well, where when we interviewed our customers, we saw a lot of our customers seeing a lot of their big data points improving over time. So whether it's their actual annual sales, whether it's seeing the ability to kind of reduce their stock within a reasonable amount of time and improve their inventory turnover ratios. All those big pieces you see on the right hand side there, those are things that we've been able to provide by leveraging Katana and solutions like Easy Insight. In terms of the challenges that most of our customers come in with, usually we see a lot of customers coming in with the spreadsheet challenge, where it's just like, okay, I'm running amok. I've got people on the floor shop trying to, give us certain information on the purchasing side, trying to buy certain things, trying to figure out the whole forecasting side of things and when I need to replenish whatever I might be building into my finished good inventory. A lot of these things kind of all come together where it's like I need to have a system of record to be able to control all of these things. And then when you think about all the different systems you might be using, so you might be using a Shopify from a sales standpoint, but then you might be doing wholesale manually. And then you might be using an accounting system like QuickBooks or Xero. Having all of these pieces centralized into one spot so that you can kind of control things and understand where things are at within your business and keeping all that information updated. Those are things that Katana does extremely well. And yeah, it's all about operations at the end of it. If you're more efficient in the operations, it helps all your team members be more efficient, helps you, especially in these times, not necessarily have to hire the headcount or potentially like review who's doing what within your organization so you can be more efficient. So all of these things are things that Katana does extremely well. And that's the reason that we have as many customers using our product as they do today. And now, James, on to you a little bit about Easy Insight.
So as I mentioned, we've been around almost 20 years. We've really focused recently on getting those inventory connections and then everything else that needs to tie into the inventory system as well. So you sell on Amazon, you sell on Shopify, you sell on WooCommerce, there's data there we need to pull in. You do B2B wholesale through HubSpot, Pipedrive, your CRM, there's that side of things. You track your shipping costs, what's happening with your shipments through ShipStation or Star Ship It or Ship Theory, being able to pull in that information. You have your ad spend just tracked in Google Analytics, in Meta, and you have your accounting costs, your variable expenses that live in QBO or Xero. It's all different data sources that represent what's in your business. The way we kind of look at things is we view the inventory system. So we view Katana as the hub. That's the main point we drive our reporting through, and then we extend that with the data we're pulling in from all the systems I just mentioned, from the marketing, from the e-commerce, so on. So that's kind of the overall strategy we use to make sure we're able to give you the best sort of reporting you need as a small, medium business manufacturer.
Makes sense. So with all that, it's the fun part, why everyone came. So here we go. It's demo time.
All right. Take over sharing here. So the actual, we'll talk in a bit about the actual connection process, but really it's just a matter of sign up for a free trial, click on Katana, click authorize access, kicks you to Katana, you grant access, returns you to Easy Insight, and it loads your data. Once your data is loaded, there is a pre-built dashboard that is designed to give you a whole bunch of different out-of-the-box reports. These reports cover everything from sales to purchasing to inventory to manufacturing. There's a wide spectrum here. Everything you're seeing here in this, everything you'll be seeing in this demo in the dashboard can be fully customized. And we'll talk more about how you build custom reports once we walk more through some of what's here out of the box. But basically, if the data is there in any capacity, we are able to do any sort of report you're looking for on that data. I'll start off with a view of some KPIs. So here we have things like our sales dollars, we have our gross profit and gross margin, we have inventory metrics like average inventory value and inventory turnover, and we have manufacturing metrics like how many hours have been worked, the number of MOs that have been completed, what percentage have been on time, and so on. For any report in Easy Insight, you can click to jump in and see the underlying data. So what were the order lines that made up that month's data that we just clicked into? We can also do trend comparisons from our drill through. So we can say for November, where we clicked into, how did the sales that month compare to the sales back in October? Now looking at the trend and how those have changed. You can also set goals. So you can see in this case, we've set goals on our sales dollars. You can set goals on any metric you want to help make sure you're tracking towards improvement and making sure you're on the right path with your business. On the margin side, we have all sorts of fun stuff to look at here. So here with this, what we're seeing is we have, in this time period, we had about 884,000 in gross revenue. Here we're able to see the split out of the discounts. So off that gross, how much did we give away in discounts? If we're pulling in returns, either from Katana's newly added functionality for returns or just from the e-commerce platform itself, that can split out here. We have how much our COGS were. We have our shipping cost. So this is what we pulled in from your shipping platform. So whether it's coming in off ShipStation, Start Ship It, whether it's a 3PL that we're just loading in the data as CSV or Excel from, whatever it needs to be, that can be here. We have our channel fees. So if we click there, we can see, for example, that with our channel fees, we had, 37,000 of commission paid out to Amazon and $337 paid in FBA fees on those orders. So that's data that lives in the e-commerce platform that we're pulling across to help figure out how much money we're actually making at the end of the day. Variable expenses, that can reflect a variety of things. In this case, it's our ad spend. So we're seeing that we spent $8,000 on Google AdWords in that time period. So really the key here is we're identifying, going from this gross value, how we get down to the contribution margin at the end of the day. Again, how much money you're really making out of the business once you take out all the different costs. We can do the same analysis looking at things by source. So for our orders that came in that are wholesale orders, our Shopify orders, our Amazon orders. Going through identifying how much money we're making off of each of those. We can also look at how many orders by the number of orders within each margin range. So, okay, we can click and say, okay, what were the 7 orders we just literally lost money on? Going through, we're doing that analysis. Same sort of thing here, looking at how much we're making per month by category, by order source. We've got a variety of reports to help out of the box on the sales side. So kind of just what we showed in the drill through, but from the top level here, looking at our sales trends, being able to choose, okay, I want to see, here's our sales in March, here were our sales in February, here were our sales in March of last year. So with that, I want to go off on a brief tangent with that, which is oftentimes when you start up and you get Katana going, you get started in October of last year. Your business may have been running for 7 years before that. You can load in your history, whether it's from the e-commerce platform, whether you have CSVs, spreadsheets you were using before. If you have CSVs you dumped out of your old inventory system, you can load those in here and have those flow into your reporting so you don't lose that sort of history when you're doing trend analysis. If we look here at seasonal sales trends, it's the same sort of thing. If all we do is go back to November of last year, this report's not going to be super useful. However, if our business has been running for a while and we have that historical data, we can load that in so we can truly see how our sales are changing across the different months in the different years. We can do mapping to see, okay, where are our orders shipping out to? I'm going to drill in there to look. Look at a sales mix. This is more of a tree view that lets us look at each category, the products, and the variance within that. So there we're able to see our sales, the quantity, and the gross profit across each, and the percent that each reflects to the total. All right, let's jump over to forecasting. On the forecasting side, you can look at for pretty much anything on the forecasting side, you can look at two different views. You can look at forecasting across locations, and you can look at forecasting by location. So basically, the forecasting across locations is going to look at the total across all the locations in your Katana, while by location is going to split it out per location. Different customers have different needs when it comes to this, so whichever approach you need, either is available here. For the different variants in your system, you can look at the sales quantity and the total quantity. So in this case, there's no sales quantity on these because these are ingredients. However, we have the total quantity that is used across the time period as well. So we're able to look at both. Let's see the average demand, the days of inventory, and the out of stock date. If we look by location, it's going to be the same sort of thing, but we're able to see it across the different locations as well. One thing you can do with the by location is if you want to mark all your ingredients as belonging to one manufacturing location, you can do that while still tracking your sales at your actual sales locations. You can customize the different calculations used in reorder points. So you can see you have it based off safety stock. You can have it just based on a number of days of inventory. You can also just pull in your reorder point that you have configured in Katana and use that as well versus, so basically just trying to minimize the number of points you have to do configuration there. You can look at the same sort by supplier. So across your different suppliers, this is how many variants are within the stock range. You click to see, okay, this is the one product I need to reorder from this supplier in this case. You can choose to exclude certain orders and certain days from your forecast. So if you have a large wholesale order that would otherwise skew your results, you can choose to exclude that from the forecast. And if you want to say exclude Black Friday from your forecast, you can do that. Again, just trying to make sure you don't throw off your numbers based on what you have there. We've also added a projected view. So with this, you're able to look across either months or weeks at what your projected stock level is. This projection is based on a combination of your forecast sales velocity, your committed sales orders, your incoming purchase orders, your scheduled manufacturing orders from the perspective of both production and consumption. So ingredients, will go down based on their scheduled production orders, while the results of those production orders of the manufacturing will show here will be positives as it goes forwards. So this has been, we've had a handful of customers who have definitely found this to be a useful view for just identifying what's going on with their inventory across the different time periods. On the customer side, we've got a variety of different views here. So you're able to look at things like, for your ad spend, what sort of value are you getting out of it? What sort of churn rate are you seeing with your customers? What's your split of new versus existing? Especially if you have sales. So if you have sales reps assigned to your customers in HubSpot, in Pipedrive, in Salesforce, or you just want to assign them within, some other form, you can do that here. Have that go, and track per sales rep, how many accounts they brought in, which ones they've made a sale to in the last 30 days, last 31 to 90, so on. You can look and see, okay, how many customers, for each product, what's been the lifetime value that product brought into us. So for this product here, this kettlebell, it brought in a lifetime value of $47,000. So if you have a product that might be not necessarily a super high dollar one itself, but it brings in a lot of lifetime customer value, you can use this view to help guide that. You can look at data across your products. So sales, margins, all that type of thing. You can recreate your stock level as of a certain date. So on June 19th of last year, this was our stock quantity and value. We can adjust that date, say, okay, for at the end of last year, what was our stock value? So especially for accounting purposes, we found this can be very useful for helping just meet the needs that your accountants have when it comes to getting this sort of data. On the purchases side, one that's been obviously relevant to the news lately is cost increases. So for each supplier, you can go in and identify and project based on if freight percent increases, if tax increases, if just the base cost increases, how that affects your bottom line. So when you run here, what this report shows you is the projected cost change if the cost increases by that value. So you're able to see the current cost, the projected cost at the current, at the current cost, and then if it increases based on what you have in stock and what the forecast yearly demand is, what that cost change will be to help identify maybe things you need to stock up on more, identify maybe possible alternate suppliers, just different ways you can do that to help kind of guide what you're doing based on whatever may be happening with your cost increases and suppliers. You can also look at your average purchase price. So this is actually going to be your average landed cost. So across your different suppliers and products, what's been the cost change that's happened to you? So for example, we had a customer just recently start using this who has multiple suppliers for quite a few of their products. And they're using this to kind of guide and identify which suppliers are best to do reorders from based on this view. So this has proved to be a very useful one for them when it comes to this. On the manufacturing side, we've got a number of different views as well. You can look and identify, okay, how accurate are we varying a ton from our recipes? Are our recipes possibly just wildly off from what our actual data is? Identifying what our outputs are, our ingredient variance, our production hour variance, and our operational cost variance. And then across our different products, what's been the quantities, the yield, the variances, and you can open it up to look at the detail across the individual orders as well, in the individual manufacturing orders as well. So in this case, we can see, either whether it's, thanks to my wonderful test data in this case, our hours are wildly off from what they're supposed to be, as said in the recipe. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of how you build custom reports in Easy Insight.
That's where I was going next. Can you do that? Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. So when we go to create a report, this is the report builder. When we click on choose field, you'll see all the fields we pull over from Katana. It can be useful to start off with the recommended fields, which pares it down to a little bit more of a manageable set. So if we go ahead and choose category name, we'll get our product categories. We can do choose field, grab line total, and it automatically sums up the product total sold across each of our categories across all time. If we go ahead and do create filter, we could choose to say, okay, I only want to see orders that were picked in the last 365 days. We can adjust that date range however we want to. Next, we could change the visualization. So here, when I click on list, you see the different visualizations that are available to you in Easy Insight. So you have crosstab pivot tables, trees, charts, Sankey diagrams, maps, a lot of different things, different ways you can visualize your data. If we change it to a column chart, it updates accordingly. We go ahead and do a stacked column chart. We can go ahead and choose our pick date, choose our total. Now we have a column chart, or stacked column chart. We can do the same sort of thing with a crosstab. So getting that. We could add some coloring to our crosstab to make the data pop a little more. So there we're able to see that, for example, this combination this month with this product category was definitely our best one. So we can do all that. And especially as you get more involved, you can do much more powerful custom reports to pretty much any sort of thing you're looking for. Your data is automatically combined across the different tables. So as you need to combine data with from your customers, from your inventory, from your products, from your sales, from your manufacturing, it all comes together there. If we want to change this and so we'll go ahead and kind of recreate it a little bit. We'll do our manufacturing. We'll change our date field to the date field at which manufacturing was completed. And we'll choose our produced quantity. Now we're seeing our manufacturing data as opposed to our sales data. So we didn't have to change anything else to do that, but it's all doable there. You can create custom calculations. So just like Excel formulas, you can build any sort of calculation you want. So if I want our total cost divided by our actual quantity, so average manufacturing cost, so that to be a currency, go ahead and add some trailing decimals to it. So now we have our average, oops, except I don't think not sure if I have that one populated offhand, but you can build whatever sort of custom calculation you want there. So you can assemble that. For any report you build, you can set it to be emailed out to, or you can export it to Excel, to PDF, to Google Sheets. You can set it for recurring email delivery. So if you want to have an inventory report get mailed out to all your operational managers at 7 a.m. every Monday, you can do that. You can embed the reporter dashboard. So we've had a handful of Katana customers build a dashboard and show it on a TV screen in the warehouse. So if you want to build a view of your stock levels across different products and have that displayed on a TV screen, along with your outstanding orders, you could do that. You can expose a report as a JSON API. So if you need to have a report consumed by another system, you can do that. So all sorts of different fun things you can do with plenty of customizations as you get more powerful with the system to make everything come together. Let's see, thinking what else we can cover here. So as we build, so for example, if we set up a report on rep for the different sales reps we have, if you want to limit the data so that a given user only sees, so each of these reps only sees their own data, you can set up row level security. So when they log in, the only thing they'll see is data that is tied to them where they are the rep. You can do the same thing if you want to limit, by sales location or by production location. different possibilities for locking down your data, you can do that. The same sort of thing is true across the data sets as a whole. So if you want your user to come in and see their Katana data, but not see the financials in QuickBooks, you can lock things down so they only see the Katana data, nothing else that you have connected as a data source. So make sure you're not showing stuff you don't want to show to the different users you add to your account. Let's see. As you can see, we do have pretty much everything here from Katana. So you have your inventory with your quantities, you have your locations, you have all your different manufacturing data, you have all your purchase data, you have all the sales data, you have adjustments, transfers, stock takes, all of it is there and available. You can also set up your own custom fields on the data in Easy Insight. So if for example, you need to add a custom field that Katana doesn't otherwise allow you to do on your sales order, you could go in and put a custom field. So we'll say, so if we want to put a sales rep on, the transaction itself, we could do that. We can go ahead and assign some values. So we say that we have reps of, we'll just do a couple to show. And then from there, we can assign a specific rep there. So you can do things like that. Often we've seen people who, for accounting purposes, they couldn't use the normal category in Katana because how it was linked to their accounting system. So they used us to set up a custom product category using this sort of functionality. And then as you have this, it's now available as a field for any other report you need to set up. Let's see. You can customize look and feel. So if you want custom color schemes, you can do that. On the validation side, one thing you'll often see is you have your data in Katana, you have your data in Shopify, making sure that they match between the systems. So being able to do comparisons of your inventory values to make sure those match between the different systems. Same kind of thing with even just what's configured as far as pricing on products, making sure that everything stays in sync, especially if you're selling on a number of channels. It can be very useful to have that validation in place to make sure everything is synced up between the systems and you're not missing anything as you have data between your e-commerce and your Katana. Just make sure everything's playing nicely between that different data. Thinking of some other use cases we can mention here. Let's see. Well, should we go ahead and open up to some questions now?
Yeah, I think we're almost there. I'm just going to do a quick 1 second. So just for everyone here, before we get into questions, just real quick, the summary piece around just Katana and Easy Insights. So as James mentioned, seamless integration, which I think is like really, really important. You saw like the detail level in terms of being able to kind of map everything to our API and every data point within Katana itself. So all that's in there, being able to do this comprehensive sales analysis. So you can go kind of beyond even the Katana side of things, kind of merging your operations, your marketing, your sales all together. And then getting into the deep around some of the advanced forecasting pieces beyond what Katana currently offers. And as James had mentioned before too, around even the data validation side of things, being able to kind of take your multiple sources if you're in multi-channel, and just making sure all the data kind of lines up nicely. All of these things are available by kind of merging what Katana does with Easy Insights. So with that, I guess one quickie for you, James, because everyone's just like, oh, this seems too good to be true, because it might be. But in terms of like getting started, just to calm the nerves a little bit, because for some people, they might not be as technical or might not be as their ability to kind of work through data and build these reports might not be so easy. What's the onboarding process look like at Easy Insight?
Yeah, so typically you're able to just connect Katana with Easy Insight. As I mentioned, you just click on Katana in Easy Insight, you click authorize access, and it pulls the data over. That'll generate that template that we walked through at the beginning. So you have a bunch of reports out of the box to start with. Whenever you're ready, you can import in historical data. You don't have it right away. You can start with just the data you have in Katana to work with. And then when you're ready, you can load in that history, whether it be directly from your e-commerce, whether it loaded in by spreadsheet. That's all doable from there. And we're happy to help you with that process. Then you can look at the templates and start building your own reports. We have training materials, and we feel very proud of the support we offer with onboarding to make sure you're successful and able to get what you need out of the box. Our team is very used to doing calls all hours of the day with customers, whether they're in South Africa, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. We're used to the different areas of the globe, making sure that you're able to get those reports going and get everything up and running. We also have a library of training videos and other documentation to help support you as you work towards building your own reports on that data.
Yeah, and just for the record, for anyone who's not on Katana right now, we have similar processes on our side. We have an onboarding team that can kind of help you get started for more complex integration needs, partners like James or other partners that can kind of help you through it. But it's kind of the same thing. I think easy to use and be able to kind of get up and running within a reasonable amount of time is a big theme, I guess, around both of our organizations. So with that, James, that was awesome. A very thorough demo there. So this is the time for questions. Also, if people have to drop off right now, as mentioned in channel, we will be providing the recording afterwards as well. We'll be providing our contact details as well. So if you want any additional information or have questions or you're shy, feel free to ask individually there. But here's, if you want to book a demo right now, you can find a time in both our calendars to book a demo with either system. With that, I see a couple chats. Oh, I'm moving my mic up. Sorry, Dara. I just heard that it was hard to hear me. Hopefully you heard all of that reasonably well, but basically time for questions. The demo here, you can use to basically book a demo right away. I'm just repeating myself in case you didn't hear it. We're going to be providing all the information afterwards in terms of the recording, and feel free to ask questions specifically from there right afterwards. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to go. I know there's a couple questions prior to. One of the questions was just around like how, I guess, your pricing model work, James, in terms of like getting started. Is it based on volume? Is it like all in? Like how does it kind of work?
So our pricing is based on sales order volume at this point. It's pretty generous. So for $149 a month, you're able to do up to, as long as your annual order volume is less than 100,000 orders, you are able to connect Katana. You're able to connect 9 other systems. So if you're able to connect, your Shopify, your Amazon, your ShipStation, you're able to do all of that. You get 2 designers who can build and modify reports and dashboards, and you get 50 viewers who can log in. They can look at their reports and dashboards, receive them as emails, and so on. It does scale up from there to a couple other price points with higher order volumes, but that's really the main lever that's going to affect anything. And for most Katana users, I suspect they'll be within that 100,000 annual volume limit.
Yeah, makes sense. And then there's just another, I guess you went through a lot of use cases here, but are you seeing like, I guess with like the tariffs and things kind of surrounded around those sorts of things, like more and more customers kind of coming in and leveraging certain types of reports or things on your side of the fence?
Yeah, kind of what I showed on the purchase cost what if analysis. We're definitely seeing some use of the really focused reporting on the purchase cost side to make sure that people have a full grasp on what it's costing for each supplier, for each product, identifying where they can possibly save money by going to different suppliers, just trying to get ahead and minimize that risk as for things that are for ingredients that are absolutely critical to their business. I mean, I've done a couple demo calls with or onboarding calls with new customers who they had some shocks when they did some of that what if analysis, looking at some of their key ingredients and the way that the cost changes would be affecting them. So it's just a very important thing to stay on top of there.
Sounds. I think other than that, any other questions from the group? Again, afterwards we will be providing the taping, and feel free. Oh, is there a place we can update supplier SKU number under inventory?
I mean, if I thought Katana had a way to do
Yeah.
that on its side. If you, I mean, you can always set up a custom field and
Yeah.
easy insight for supplier SKU number if you need one. So that's doable. I thought I'm not.
Yeah, I'll double check after.
Okay.
Sanka will double check of that after on the Katana side too.
If it's
So
not
should be able
doable on
to
the
do it.
Katana side, you certainly can on easy insight, but yeah, I think that one might be doable on Katana itself.
We're right back right after on that one. Okay, I think that's it. Well, James, thank you so much for coming in, and really appreciate all of you for listening in. Again, the recording will be sent right afterwards, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the week ahead. Thanks again, James.
Thanks for your time, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
All right, have a good one.